State down here in Tennessee. We don't need y'all to talk about us because we're going to talk about ourselves. We told y'all.
Welcome, everybody out there, back to Titans Tube, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Justin. This is Jake with me here. We are co-host of Titans Tube, going into our 8th season of this channel, Jake. Pretty exciting. Football season has snuck up on us yet again, dude. We have a preseason game. We have Titans football coming at you on Saturday at noon. All right, I guess I'll have to set my alarm or something. Get up.
Nothing like spending your whole Saturday afternoon watching preseason action. You know.
I know. Sorry, wife. I've got plans. So, all right. So anyway, okay. Let's take it back down here, Jake. So first of all, how are you doing? How's your summer going? It kind of all blew by super fast.
Oh my God, time is relentless, Justin. I knew that as soon as we shut down for the season last year, and then the draft, and we did our draft video, and I was, thinking, wow, football season really is forever away. But those summer months start peeling off, and those summer days get going, and here we are in early August, ready to watch some preseason action. Fun little caveat about my Titans fandom, Justin, is it started week 1 of the preseason in 2006. That very day, the New Orleans Saints came to town with Drew Brees. Reggie Bush had just been drafted. Vince Young had just been drafted for the Titans. And that was the first game that I pulled up to, went to as a young lad, and fell in love with the pageantry of NFL football. Even though it was just a preseason game, my dad showed me how to, buy the cheap seats and then move down after halftime, especially for a preseason game. So that's just a little fun fact about my Titans fandom, and my love for preseason action, Justin, cannot be understated.
Yes, you're maybe one in a few that just can't get enough of that preseason action. But I love that. I can just see little young Jake getting the two-tone twinkle in his eye for the first time watching us take it.
Two-tone twinkle. I like that. That's nice.
Yeah, and man, that's great. Vince Young, that was a great season. Rookie of the Year. I think we went 8-8, so that really introduced you to the kind of Titans football you'll be getting for the rest of your classic Jeff Fisher ball right there. So yeah, I think, but we're away. We have 2 away games at first, and then host New England on the final game of the preseason.
Correct.
So as far as this channel goes, before we get into it, I know we've been, we announced it. We hadn't been making videos this offseason. We pick it back up as the season began. But Jake, we're going to scale back still yet again for this season, just to make things a little simpler for us. Life gets busy as you get older, man, and I don't like it. I want to focus 100% of my time on paying attention to the Titans, but for some reason that doesn't put bread on the table. So the plan for now, people, and we thank you guys so much. Don't get us wrong. We are very appreciative to all our subscribers and viewers over the years for sticking with us as things have been changing, Caleb, Amy, being in and out, but they should hopefully be back and make appearances for this season. But for now, we are going to stick to weekly shows on Mondays. We're going to recap the game on Monday, recap the Sunday's game on that Monday, and then also preview the next opponent as well. So we're just kind of consolidating into one video and to make it a consistent product for all of y'all. And hopefully, if Caleb and Amy can get involved and that they can do some videos for you, perhaps weekly picks or just some kind of one-off things here and there to provide some additional content. But as for me and Jake, and the consistency and the hub of what we're going to do this year is those Monday shows. So look forward to that. And we might change things up. I mean, things happen. And I think we do have a Thursday night game. So, of course, it's not going to always be as consistent as the season goes. But we will adapt. Titans Tube can and will adapt adapt or die. That's what Dick LeBeau said about being a defensive coordinator. You have to adapt to the new game, the new offensive explosions, or die. And so we're not going to die, never.
No, never say die. As you said, Justin, from the top, season 8 of Titans Tube. How about a little round of applause there? I mean, it's season 8 for you, man. It's only season 4 for the old Jakester over here. So
Rookie numbers, Jake.
I've only got half the experience of hosting this show as you do. So cheers to that, man. And yeah, like you said, with the Monday videos, hopefully it'll make it more consistent throughout the year. 2 videos a week's a lot harder than people realize. And especially, when the Titans end the year on a 7-game losing streak, you do not want to make 2 videos a week. You hardly want to make 1 video a week. So hopefully, as Justin said, it'll be a more consistent, better show for y'all out there. And like you said, again, thank you for the continued support, commenting, liking, sharing, viewing, commenting, subscribing, all that jazz, as I like to say. But anyways, Justin, should we hop into this 2023 Titans team, man? I mean, there's so many changes in this offseason that I feel like we haven't really addressed.
Did you just literally make the greatest segue of all time as we hop into this video? One of the big signings, the big storylines of the season, Jake. What really has made me get reignited, re-excited, and provided that extra juice for me because, man, like you mentioned, the 7-game losing streak, dude. What a miserable way. As if blowing that playoff game to the Bengals 2 years ago couldn't be topped. I mean, it's still not topped, but it was close with that 7-game losing streak. Losing to the Jags last game of the year with the Josh Dobbs incomplete pass fumble, apparently. I don't know what happened there. That was heartbreaking. But, been a little down in my feelings. But, dude, after everything, all things considered, now that we've got through the offseason, we have landed DeAndre Hopkins. And I'm excited now because then you kind of are seeing this. The offense has some pieces now to work with if we can get this offensive line to play right. But we've got some weapons, and if Tannehill can come back fully healthy, I mean, we'll see what happens. We're rolling the dice here, and what that tells me, Jake, is that the Titans aren't in a kind of rebuild mode. I mean, DeAndre Hopkins signed here for a reason. He's not wanting to go to a team to rebuild. He's entering the back 9 of his career. So he's looking to go to a team that he sees that has potential to win. And so I think, we're going to give it another run, dude. So I think I'm ready to win a Super Bowl this season after all of that. So I don't know, man. We have struck out so many times with former star, current ending their career star wide receivers. Do you see DeAndre Hopkins actually making this thing work with the Titans?
I'm with you, Justin. You're providing that juice, the spark I needed as a Titans fan to wake up and, hey, it's football season. I needed a reason, to get off the couch and then sit right back down and watch, hours of Titans football every Sunday in the fall. And tell you the truth, my optimism level going into this season was not very high before the DeAndre Hopkins signing. And obviously, it's so easy to say that this is going to be Julio 2.0 or Randy Moss 2.0 or Andre Johnson 2.0. Should I, go on and on and on and on?
You could.
But I went and I looked up Julio Jones's stats for the Titans, and I would like to think the fan in me and the viewer of, DeAndre Hopkins training camp clips. We are officially in training camp, video clip season on Twitter, or X as it's called nowadays, another off-season change. But DeAndre Hopkins looks like he has more gas in the tank than Julio Jones ever did in a Titans uniform. So I looked up Julio Jones's stats from his sole season with the Titans: 31 receptions, 434 yards, and 1 touchdown. Justin, you would have to think DeAndre Hopkins tops those numbers. I mean, do you think that DeAndre Hopkins has enough in the tank to catch more than 31 balls, to catch more than 1 touchdown? And I think he's definitely got more than 434 yards in there, don't you think?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I agree. I mean, YouTube clips or Twitter clips, but I mean, he's out here like punking people, and it looks like he's already got chemistry going on with Tannehill, catching balls. Moss and Christian Fulton, our best cornerback, in clips. I mean, it's just practice, but you love to see that. as a star wide receiver, that kind of does change your complexion of what can this offense actually be. And absolutely, I think he's younger. He is coming off an injury. I believe he missed several games last year in Arizona. I can't remember what his injury was, but I mean, he looks fine practicing right now. So, and I mean, Julio Jones looked great practicing. Justin Hunter was a Hall of Fame practicer, apparently. He
The Titans have had so many
praise.
Hall of Fame practicers. I mean, I think back to Michael Preston and
Yeah.
man, I mean,
What a
Mason Kinsey. We have a stable of wide receivers.
Oh yeah, lots of Hall of Fame practice wide receivers. So I absolutely think Hopkins, if he can stay healthy, obviously, is the biggest caveat. He can put up bigger numbers than Julio. And on the flip side of Hopkins, I think what that's going to do for Burks is going to help out tremendously as the wide receiver 2. I honestly think it would not surprise me whatsoever if Burks outproduced Hopkins. If they are on the field at the same time throughout the course of the season, Burks may end up with bigger, better numbers than Hopkins just because of the attention Hopkins is going to demand. And defenses also have to respect the run game. Lord willing, we can get this run game going with this new offensive line we're putting together. But I think adding DeAndre Hopkins just opens things up for a lot of things for the offense. So I'm encouraged. And even with that, I am for sure expecting him to put up more than 400 yards and 30 catches like Julio did. Well, Julio missed, 3, 4, or 5 games as well. So
that's going to be the big, marker for DeAndre Hopkins. It's if he can stay on the field, and so far through training cramp. I'm saying, I got injuries on the brain, man. No, don't say those words. So, knock on wood, so far through training camp, there's been no cramps, no injuries for DeAndre Hopkins. So hopefully that continues to be the case. And I feel like if he can stay on the field and play 16, 17 games for this Titan squad, he's definitely got to beat those stats. And I love the point you made about this is huge for Treylon Burks' development. We've seen the flashes. We've seen the potential of Treylon Burks, another guy who, again, I mean, it's just the theme of last year's Titans team. Couldn't stay healthy, couldn't stay on the field, couldn't be consistent. So hopefully I like what you said with he's just going to unlock a lot more for this offense. I mean, again, it all comes back to the offensive line, Justin. I feel like if we don't have an offensive line, you don't really have anything. And we saw what kind of peril that can cause an offense last year. I know Todd Downing was possibly the worst offensive coordinator in the league. And then, Tim Kelly coming in as a new name, new face, kind of. But, I mean, Tim Kelly doesn't have the greatest resume also. He definitely has familiarity with working with DeAndre Hopkins, and that's a good plus and everything. But I just hope this offense can live up to the potential of its weapons. I mean, I think Derrick Henry's still got some left in the tank. Yes, he might have looked like he maybe lost a half a step or a step last season. He didn't quite have the speed back, but he's still produced 1,500 yards behind the worst offensive line I think we've ever seen in Nashville. And so the weapons have, all the potential in the world. And I think Ryan Tannehill is still a very slept on quarterback, a very underrated quarterback, a very serviceable quarterback when he has everything working around him. So hopefully that can all gel and the Titans offense can be much, much better than it was in 2022 this season. I think I see everything coming together to make that happen.
Yeah. And that gelling has to happen pretty quick for us because one of the big stories from the offseason is Nicholas Petit-Frere could not gamble betting. Is that what's going on? Man, come on, big guy. And then after that, we have one of the guys that would be in the running to compete for the starting job, Jamarco Jones, got into a scuffle, pissed off Vrabel. Vrabel said beat it, so he was cut. And then we signed Justin Murray. I guess he's been around. He's been in the league, with spot play here and there. So there's going to be competition at right tackle. And of course, left tackle, we said goodbye to Dennis Daly. Okay, goodbye, Dennis, and good luck wherever you go. But we have signed Andre Dillard, who is, I think, in line to just take that job. I don't know what kind of competition he might be seeing Or former first round pick, but ended up getting beaten out in Philadelphia by another early draft pick, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of unproven, but lots of potential there for Dillard. And then our first round pick, Skoronski, coming in at left or right guard. I'm not quite sure. And then I don't know who else we got. Aaron Brewer. I mean,
Aaron Brewer
we
at center.
Yeah, we gotta hold down the fort, especially in these first 6 games without Petit Ferrer, who was decent, as a rookie, third round pick out of Ohio State, and hopefully would be getting better, you would imagine, in year 2. So yeah, that's going to be a thing to watch for, in the preseason if protection can hold up. Because yeah, like you said, it's huge. You have nothing unless you have a good offensive line, and we saw so many games fall apart because we just could not keep Tannehill up or Malik Willis. But anyway, yeah, so I don't know if you want to add anything else onto that point, but other notable signings here that can be exciting here. I'm excited about Arden Key. He's being hyped up a little bit throughout training camp, and if you kind of see him as a Bud Dupree little replacement, it's going to be a clear upgrade because Bud Dupree, he was good when he was healthy, but he was never healthy. He provided some good push in the pass rush department, but that's something I think we have upgraded by going younger with Arden Key, who put in some solid years with Jacksonville. I think he's only like a second or third year player, right?
Yeah, he's a younger guy. And if we're flipping sides of the ball, Justin, as excited as I am about DeAndre Hopkins and the new weapons coming in, Spears is in the draft class, and it remains to be seen what his role in the offense is going to be. But on the other side of the ball, you mentioned Arden Key, and I'm so excited to watch this pass rush back at full strength, getting Harold Landry back. I mean, I feel like everybody's just forgotten he's a part of this team.
I kind of did, yeah.
And after not watching him at all last season with the ACL, we're getting Harold Landry back. Big Jeff got the new contract. Arden Key, Danico Autry's still a part of this team. I mean, this front defensive line is going to be as good as it's ever been. And it's been really, really good for this team the past couple of seasons. And I feel like it's been upgraded with Arden Key and bringing in more youth instead of, watching Bud Dupree in the red arm sleeve run 10 yards past the quarterback on just a big sweeping move like every single play. I don't know. That's just my own personal gripe with Bud Dupree. But anyways, I think this defense has gotten better all around. Now, I was bummed out to lose David Long at the linebacking position. And I feel like if there's a spot we've gotten worse on defense, it's the linebacking depth. I think even Jack Gibbons was listed as a starter in the first depth chart, which wasn't awesome. And then also at linebacker depth, we've added Azeez Al-Shaair from the 49ers, obviously had that connection in San Fran with Rand Carthon. He kind of was brought in, and he's been providing juice in training camp. You've seen his name thrown out, making plays here and there. And then, we're looking for a second-year jump from guys like McCreary. And is it Molden's second or third year? I want to say
it should be third
year. I mean, we're looking for these guys to now become like bona fide starters in the league. And I feel like this defense, if again, we've talked about gelling, come together, and it's so hard. You can have all the pieces separately, but if they can't function as a unit, it's not really going to do a whole lot for you. So hopefully with the pass rush being as good as it's going to be, hopefully as we think, these guys on the back end, Fulton's on a contract year, and then with McCreary and Molden, I feel like we have a good secondary in place with Hooker and Byard at safety. So I feel like if this defense can just help out as they did last season, I mean, I went back and watched a lot of those games in the 7-game losing streak, or at least the highlights. And it just highlighted how good this defense was. If we had an average offense, the Titans would have made the playoffs even with Malik Willis or Josh Dobbs at quarterback, because this defense was helping them out the entire time. You point out that the Texans game gave up 19 points, or the Chargers game gave up 17 points. The Chiefs game, those were all sub 20-point performances from the defense, but the offense couldn't even muster up enough points to get wins in those games. So hopefully, this team can kind of function as it did, back in 2021. And I feel like in the early part of 2022, even though there were growing pains and there were headaches with this offense, this was a 7-3 football team last season, halfway through the year. And then
Yeah.
then Tannehill gets hurt, the
And then 0
wheels
and 7.
completely fall off, and then they were 0-7 to end the year. And
Uh,
all of a sudden the Titans are forgotten and they're not even the favorites to win the AFC South. So this is a good football team, Justin. I'm trying to get
yeah,
myself pumped up and
I'm feeling it too. Yeah.
and try to remind myself that this is a good football team under Mike Vrabel's leadership. When with the players and the core that this team has, I mean, I wouldn't say Super Bowl is quite on the menu, but definitely going to
Could you?
win the AFC South. And why not us? So as long as we can take down those winnable games on the schedule and win those divisional games. I mean, Jacksonville, everybody wants to hype up the Jacksonville Jaguars. They were 9-8, Justin. 9-8.
Mhm.
That's no world-beating team. I mean, the Titans can go 9-8 this season. They can go 10-7, and I mean, if the ball bounces their way, I think they could go 11-6.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
this is a good team, and I think make it to the playoffs, and then if you're hot, you're hot, and then anything can happen from there.
Absolutely. And it's not going to take a lot, like being like a world beating team either, just to like end the season with a good record and making the playoffs and then seeing what happens from there. Because our schedule looks pretty dang easy on paper. Like no like big name notable opponents. I mean, that's what happens when you finally don't win your division. You don't have to play the Chiefs the next year. You don't have to play the Bills the next year. We do host the Bengals, which might be like our toughest game. And God, I want to win that game. We haven't beaten Joe Burrow ever. And so I hate that man. No offense, like as a fan of the sports, I don't hate the person, people. Come on, work with me. And then Baltimore, that'll be an exciting game in London. Unfortunately, I don't know. I wish that would have been an actual home game in Nashville. Just a classic Titans-Ravens rivalry game, but going abroad to London. But other than that, I mean, yeah, it's the rest of your AFC South opponents who are all, two of them will be starting rookie quarterbacks. They could be great, or they could be, having the typical
Rookie
growing
quarterbacks,
pains as a rookie, with CJ Stroud in Houston and Anthony Richardson for the Indianapolis Colts. Also, side note, we're all laughing at the Colts in the Jonathan Taylor situation. Love to see love to see the chaos there. That's awesome. That's great. Love it. Keep it up, Colts. Keep it up, Jimmy Irsay. And then we play the NFC South, the Saints, and then now the Bucks. What are they going to be without Tom Brady and the Panthers? These opponents, Jake, are very beatable. We have to go to Pittsburgh I think that's a Thursday night game.
Yep.
But they're trying to turn a leaf and move on into a new era as well. And then we play at Miami, which could be a tough game. They kind of turn things on at the end of their season. That's there. But anyway, I'm rambling. I'm just making the point that the schedule's not intimidating, and that's what you get for finishing in second place. I guess not finishing in first place is the teams you face. These guys are beatable. We could stack up some wins here. So yeah, the more hyping ourselves up. That we are not rebuilding, Jake. We are here to win now, and I'm excited to see it.
Yeah, and in the notes here, the signing of DeAndre Hopkins not only brings a superstar name to town, and I know, I like I said earlier, it's fun to point and laugh at the Titans and say, "Wow, this is where receiving careers go to die," and we get it, and it's easy to say that it's going to be Julio 2.0. But it also signals to us fans, Justin, that they're at least trying, for a long time during this offseason, for most of the offseason, we're kind of just slumping around after losing 7 straight at the end of last year. And it's like they hadn't really done anything to get better. They've gotten worse, honestly, especially on the offensive side of the ball. You look at Lawan, Ben Jones.
Yeah.
And there was a long time where we're walking into next season and it's Treylon Burks and Nick Westbrook-Akina are wide receivers 1 and 2. And
not drafting a wide receiver, taking Will
Exactly.
Levis second was kind of turning fans off, but they kind of redeemed themselves. Ran Carthon and Vrabel did by bringing in Hopkins. We can now breathe. Like, okay, we got a guy. We got a superstar wide receiver. Now we're not as angry or mad.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, maybe they had that in their back pocket the whole time. Who knows? But yeah, it does. Like, yeah, I was saying, change the complexion of the season and the outlook and the expectations, really.
Absolutely. And if we want to talk about some outlook expectations for this season, I mean, I kind of let the cat out of the bag, and I don't think that they're a Super Bowl contender, but they're absolutely a division contender. I mean,
Yeah.
we talked about the schedule, winnable games, and you're looking at Ryan Tannehill and Derrick Henry in the last years of their respective contracts, Justin. This could be
Mhm.
the last dance for 17 and 22 in the backfield, which is something that, on a league-wide scale doesn't really move the register. Henry might a little bit, if Henry were to switch teams or leave Nashville. But I mean, Ryan Tannehill, you got to give him some flowers for what he's done for this team. I mean, he was
Definitely.
brought in as a backup quarterback. They traded I think a 7th-round pick to
Or
Miami
fourth.
way
I think it was
back when.
fourth.
Fourth round
Yeah.
pick to Miami way back when. He was a backup to Mariota because Mariota was always injured. Mariota starts that 2019 season 2-4, looking terrible. Ryan Tannehill came in and said, "Clear, put the shock on this Titans team," and they ran all the way to the AFC Championship on the
Oh,
back of a
man.
reinvigorated offense, and it's been unbelievable what Ryan Tannehill's been able to do from this team from the first game he came in. They've been contenders. They've been in the playoffs. They've been winning the division, something they
Mhm.
hadn't done for a really, really, really long time. And so I think it's really appropriate. I know with Malik Levis, obviously, and
Yeah.
and Will Willis,
I'm
breathing
clear.
down his back. The young guys trying to vie to be his replacement. I think it's important to stop and appreciate Ryan Tannehill for what he's done for this team, and being the last year of his contract, and looking how this roster is configured, it's probably the last dance for Tannehill, Justin. I don't know if that makes you as sad as it does me, but it's something to acknowledge.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it sure is. Man, and I always go back to that Bengals playoff game, and then you kind of go to the playoff performances too with Tannehill, and
Yeah,
so
unfortunately.
that leaves that has left a bad taste, and it kind of has skewed my my thoughts on the Tannehill era here at Tennessee, because he really has been like a godsend for this franchise, giving us the best seasons we've had here since the McNair and Eddie George days, winning more than one playoff game in one season, and then of course coming up short in a couple others, but still just the excitement, and he's given these fans something to be excited about and to talk about at work and at home, and then when you're with your buddies and just throwing dimes all over the field. I mean, it's hard for me to say this, but I mean, I gotta remove my nostalgic bias, but I won't say he's the best quarterback in Titans history, but at least passer wise, I mean, McNair took us further into the playoffs. He had absolutely the dynamic to tuck the ball and run it as well. Tannehill's got some wheels too, but as far as delivering the football, like he has been the most effective passer I think we've ever seen in a Titans uniform, and so he definitely deserves his flowers, and he needs to be appreciated. And we need to salvage and hope for just like a successful, however you grade success, a successful last hoorah for Tannehill in a Titans uniform, because it's been great. I've thoroughly enjoyed it over the course of the past 3-4 years. So we'll see what we got. One last push for the Tannehill Henry era.
This is where the
You know,
documentary starts, Justin. This is where it
yeah,
starts.
this is where it starts. We're
Actually,
gonna
it
have
starts with
season
the
2.
Bengals loss, and then and
Yeah,
then eventually we get to the last dance, and then this is where it starts.
season 2 of Quarterback, produced by Peyton Manning, is going to be documenting the
Yeah,
Tannehill Henry last hoorah for the Titans. But yeah, so yeah, that's an important thing to bring up, and just to kind of think about too. But talking about quarterbacks, I think in kind of bringing it back to just looking at this preseason and what to watch for. The main thing, and I'll be watching these games because we've got a uncertain QB2 that's going to be very important to this team, because Tannehill health is not guaranteed whatsoever. We showed what happened last year when Tannehill went down. So the competition between Will Levis, yeah, I said that right, right? Okay, Will Levis
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Malik Willis. It's going to be something to watch, and I don't know. Is there even another quarterback on the roster? There shouldn't be. Like these two guys should get 100% of the preseason snaps throughout these games, and whoever shows they're more ready will and should earn that spot. So that'll be an exciting thing to watch. That along with the protection from the offensive line and that gelling, and some of these receivers, man, I don't know. We didn't talk about Chris Moore, just kind of an unheralded receiver we nabbed from the Texans, I think. And a lot of people, I think, too, have forgotten Kyle Phillips. Lots of hype around him in last year's offseason, but could not shake the injury bug. Had a couple like fumbles. I think he played well in week 1. Correct. And then that was like it. But he seems like a guy that could have a lot of potential to deliver in the slot position. So hopefully he can like show some stuff during the preseason games here. But I'm definitely excited to see the Will Levis versus Malik Willis battle. I got to quit saying it like that.
It is a tongue twister. It is.
I didn't realize it was a tongue twister until now. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see what Will can bring to the table. But reports have been that Malik Willis looks like he's improved, right? Like that's what everybody's been kind of saying. Like Malik Willis has clearly been practicing during this offseason because he looks sharper, looks more comfortable, et cetera, et cetera. So we'll see, once he's out there under the bright lights, what he can deliver. But this will be a very watchable preseason. I mean, a lot of times, you just turn off the preseason games and sleep until week 1. But I'm going to be watching. I'm very curious to see how the quarterback 2 competition plays out.
For sure. Yeah, it's going to be a very, very watchable preseason, especially – man, I feel bad in my heart for Malik Willis, especially with Will Levis coming in. And I just feel like Malik's such a likable guy. And like you said, he's made strides in this offseason. Everything that is coming out of Titans camp this is a new and improved Malik Willis. And now they've invested a lot into Will Levis. And who's to say how this quarterback situation is going to shake out? But yeah, it is definitely going to be an entertaining preseason, an entertaining quarterback battle to watch throughout, and we'll see how Tajay Spears comes into this group, and we're going to get to see how this offensive line gels, and hopefully that the starters in the offensive line get a lot of snaps, and we'll see how it all comes together in this preseason, and yeah, it'll at least be entertaining to watch, Justin, at the very least. And something else that has entertained Titans fans this offseason, Justin, is the debut of the Oilers throwbacks. I don't know yes, there it is. As a Titans day oneer, Justin, how do you feel about the Oilers brand being in Tennessee? Do you have an opinion that strongly? And what do you think about Houston claiming the legacy?
Very strongly. I think I don't know. We've touched on this before, but I love it that the Titans are embracing the Oilers. You're embracing, the roots and the traditions of where this franchise came from to where they are today. It's one team, it's one franchise. Like, the Oilers belong. They don't belong. They are the Titans. So, yeah, I know Houston they're bitter about it, but the Texans are a separate franchise created in Houston. And, the Oilers moved and became the Titans for lots of reasons that have been documented why the team left. Go find a clip on YouTube or something and you'll figure it out. But Adams made that choice. And Amy Adams Strunk. And, Amy Adams Strunk is welcoming and she's having all these Oilers events, and she was probably pushing for the jersey, the alternate jerseys to be brought back, to be worn again. And so I think it's great. And you hear too, like Warren Moon and Earl Campbell say, like, we are part of the Titans family. Like this is part of the Oilers, the legacy here. So I think it's great. I'm glad we're embracing, the roots. And I know it might be a bitter pill to swallow if you're a Texans fan, but you have your own team. Like, lay off. Like, you can be an Oilers fan if you want to, but that means you're a Titans fan. And so really, you gotta pick who you are. Really look inward and to find out what team do you really want to support.
Absolutely. I'm equally as excited, Justin. I've picked up some Oilers gear for this season. And
Fire.
you know, you made a good point. Amy Adams Strunk has done a lot for this franchise and a lot for the roots of this franchise. You know, I feel like Bud Adams, when he was an owner, wanted to distance himself from the Houston Oilers, and he was bitter at Houston, and he didn't want to be the Oilers anymore. And obviously,
Yeah.
with the Tennessee Oilers existing for 2 whole seasons, Justin, that's one thing I think the uniform is missing is the Tennessee Oilers patch. I just feel
Yeah,
like that's
that'd
a
be nice.
cool, good look, and it helps differentiate the 2 squads. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's a
They're gonna
very
kind of
cool
link them
thing that.
together too.
Yeah, true. And it's I just think Amy Adams Strunk has done a wonderful job going back and also advocating for these throwbacks to one be made. And it's been a long time wait for Titans fans, obviously, to wear the iconic uniform, the iconic branding of the Oilers team. And it's, dude, I've waited so long to get this shirt. I've
Yeah.
held off for a while until they announced the uniforms. And I tell you what, man, I think it's in December. The Titans are wearing the Oilers throwbacks against Houston. If you want to talk about a
Beautiful.
must-win game on the schedule, if we're going to be petty and wear them against Houston, that's a
Yeah.
must-win game. You know,
We can't.
we
Yeah.
can't lose. Can't lose.
That's absolutely true. Um, I think a good idea too for all you Titans fans out there to be extra petty and to kind of troll a little bit is to plan to make a trip to the game in Houston. Buy yourself a DeAndre Hopkins jersey in the Oilers colors, and
Yes,
just be in the
yes.
stands. And I don't know. I think that's funny that we signed. Possibly, I mean, they have Andre Johnson for longer, but maybe the peak of DeAndre Hopkins eclipsed Andre Johnson. I don't know. Maybe that's too
Tough
controversial.
to say.
But one of the greatest franchise players for them of all time, and now he's going to be donning an Oilers jersey. That's got to sting a little bit, I guess. But
I'm all for the rivalry.
yeah, super excited. Just another thing to kind of be excited about as this offseason. Maybe the biggest story, I don't know, to be excited about is the reveal of these jerseys. Because, dude, it's universal across the NFL. Everybody loves these jerseys. They're going to sell like crazy.
Mm-hmm.
They just look so good. They pop, with the blue and the accented red and white. I don't know. There's just something about them. There's something about them that really makes them look clean. And, oh, man, I can't wait to see us play these games in these uniforms.
It's going to be a lot of fun. And hopefully, Justin, this preseason is a lot of fun, and hopefully the season is much more fun than how last season ended up. So we're looking forward to it here at Titans Tube. We hope y'all are too. I don't know, Justin, do you have anything to take us to the barn before we sign off?
Nothing. Just Super Bowl's back on the menu. A 7-game losing streak is hard to wait to end the season, but everybody is now back to 0-0. It's a new
Absolutely.
season. Anything can happen. We got some big name players on this team, and we're gonna make a final push and do it in the classic baby blue uniform colors too. If we make the Super Bowl, we got to bring the uniforms back. I would love to do that as well.
Wow, I don't know if the NFL would allow that, but that would be pretty sick, actually.
Yeah.
But I like your thinking. I like your forward thinking, Justin. And hopefully the season will roll around and we will be just as ready as the Titans will be come September. So like, comment, subscribe, all that jazz. Thank y'all for watching. And I'm excited for another season of Titans Tube, Justin. Let's get it.
We'll be back. We'll be back before the first game of the season, week 1. So we're gonna go on another hiatus probably through the preseason, unless something big drops, or I don't know, maybe we'll feel like talking about something that happened in a game or something. We might jump back on. But yeah, expect us back for a week 1 preview for sure.
Perfect. Sounds good. All right, we'll see y'all in the next vid.